Cattails for Two is a pretty special cartoon because this is actually the very first appearance of Speedy Gonzales. And this was released in 1953, directed by Robert McKimson. And it doesn't necessarily look exactly like Speedy Gonzales. He's certainly gone through a little bit of an animation change to become the mouse that we have known and loved over the years. It's quite a fun cartoon, but there is the fact that it's obviously very stereotypical towards Mexicans and Mexican culture. Not so much the case with some Speedy Gonzales cartoons, but there has apparently been quite a lot of criticism over the years towards this cartoon because of that. But because you look back at this in hindsight and knowing what Speedy Gonzales eventually became, it's not so bad on reflection. They kind of managed to tone things down a bit over the years, but that's definitely something to bear in mind if you do watch this. I'd be very keen to know your thoughts on that specifically. And we have a brilliant voice cast. Of course, we have Mel Blanc as Speedy Gonzales, and we also have these two cats, George and Benny, and they see that there is a ship coming forward that they believe that will be full of Mexican mice, which they refer to as Mexican food. I love the line about getting heartburn from Mexican food, by which they mean the Mexican mouse. And they go through all of these different plans to try and get Speedy and try and capture their mouse. Will they succeed? Well, I'm not going to say it, but it's very stereotypical of a Warner Brothers Merrie Melodies cartoon at this time. I think it's very well animated. The cats, I like the cats. I like the design of the fact that George and Benny have very different physical appearances. They look like they've been drawn by two completely different animators, which they may well have been. I fully expect that they probably were. And that works really well because it's very easy to distinguish between them. They haven't just opted for different fur colours. The physical representations are very different, and I think that that was a very clever thing to do. With regards to the methods that they use to try and capture Speedy, some of them are a little clever and creative. Some of them are the typical explosive approach that Warner Brothers often went for, and I would have expected no less. I really enjoyed this as an introduction to Speedy Gonzales. I'm glad that they made some changes to Speedy over the years. I'm not sure if the changes came immediately, because I don't think I've seen the second appearance of Speedy. Actually, I might have done. I think that is just a cartoon called Speedy Gonzales. So I think they made the changes pretty quickly, which I assume was a result of feedback for this cartoon. But, watching it in hindsight, it's really interesting from an animation history perspective. The narrative itself flows quite well. The motivations of the cats I completely believe. The dialogue is quite funny and witty, brilliant voice cast. I can't really find any real fault with it.